It's like all of everything. I wanna wake up in the morning with a wedding ring.
Where are you right now, Aloe Blacc?
I am in Pennsylvania, West Pennsylvania.
Is that home for you?
No, I'm from Los Angeles. I'm just traveling now and on my way home in a few days.
Okay, what are you doing on the road?
Lots of promotion, and in this case, I am promoting the music that I've just released. The album is called All Love Everything.
Exactly, I want to talk to you about it. I think that title itself is such a sentiment that needs to be spread right now.
I mean, that's it. I feel like this pandemic has certainly heightened the awareness of how connected we are as a human species. I mean, to the point that we're connected by our breaths. And I wanted to release an album. This was pre-pandemic, but I wanted to release an album about love and about my family and about the people I'm closest to. And it just so happens that during lockdown, I'm extremely close to my family for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is beautiful. But it's a new existence, a new reality.
Definitely. I want to talk to you about the title track of this album. I'll be real with you. I've never been in love, but listening to that song, I was like, wow, I have a really clear understanding of the indicators of if I was in love. It was just beautiful.
Yeah. Love is a nice thing. You got to get yourself some. I mean,
Yo, no, it's hard in this climate. I'm out here. I'm trying.
it's definitely not easy, especially, you know what? Especially during the digital era. I mean, I was in high school when the internet first came out, right? I had just left college when YouTube first started. So we're talking my advantage in finding love and in the normal way was way above what's happening nowadays. I cannot imagine how difficult it is just because there's so much more information, but not all the information is real. Like the lives that we present online are such the embellished, beautiful parts of our lives. And in reality, when reality falls short, we're so disappointed. But it's just reality. Like we got to get used to it. We got to get with it. What a different world it is nowadays.
That's it. I think everyone's become numb to others' shortcomings. Like it's almost as though we've all got the idea that everyone has to be perfect. And if you find someone who has a flaw, you're like, oh well, they've got a flaw. Surely there's someone else out here who doesn't. So
Can
I'm going to look for that. It's terrible. How did you meet your partner then?
Well, it was in real time, in real life. So I was doing a music conference in
Yeah.
Melbourne,
Oh,
and I had released an album that was full of everything that was my inspiration, from hip hop to salsa to soul music to folk. And it was just a big mix of everything. And I had an interview lined up in Melbourne for a TV show on Channel V.
mm.
And so the hostess of that show was named Maya Jupiter, and she came to interview me, and I thought, wow, what a lovely interviewer. I'm going to keep this extremely
Professional.
professional. I'm going to answer all my questions, and then I'm going to go back to my conference and act like I never met her because she lives halfway across the world. And at the end of the interview, I told her there may be some other artists at the conference that she'd like to interview. Here's the address. You can come by and I'll introduce you to a couple of other artists. So she came by. She met a couple of other artists, and then I thought, well, today is our last day. We do have a finale party at a local pub called Miss Libertine. And so I invited her to the finale party. She said, well, I've got more interviews to do over at the Obese Records Festival. And that's going to take me till probably about midnight. I'm not sure if I'll make it. So I waited at the after party at Miss Libertine's till about little after midnight. She didn't show up. So I started walking out to get a taxi to my hotel. My flight was in 6 hours, so I was going to have to leave anyway. Um, and so, yeah, I was heading out. A taxi pulls up. I'm getting ready to get in, and she's walking out of the taxi. And as she walks out of the taxi, I don't know what came over me, but I hugged her straight away and spun her around in slow motion, like the movies. And she said, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "I was waiting for you." And so we went back inside. I offered her a drink. She said, "I don't drink." I said, "Neither do I. How about an orange juice?" And we sat and we talked hip hop for like 2 hours. And it was, and we exchanged information so that when I got back to LA, we could keep in touch. And the rest is history, but there's more. There's more history.
That is literally like a movie. It's like, that crossover, that like the whole slow motion spin. This is literally a fairy tale.
There is no dating app that could make that.
Stories like this, come on.
It's just real life.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and now you're a father. How beautiful. This is your first album as a father as well. Would you say that these are your glory days, to quote a song to you?
Exactly. I wouldn't consider 2020 to be the glory days, but every day, all the way up until February 26th, was a glory day of this, or I'd say actually up till March 13th.
So specific.
Seriously, the whole family. We were in Switzerland. It was a beautiful opportunity to do a special concert series where I was performing. Professional ice skaters, Olympic award-winning ice skaters, were dancing choreography to my music as I was performing, to a stadium full of audience, people watching, and we had a beautiful time. My mom came out, the kids were there, and then we went to Davos. We didn't go skiing, but we went ice skating, and we went sledding down the mountain. Then we went home, and everything changed.
At least you had that one like last moment of escape, where you're like, oh, thank God we got to go do that before the world turned to shit.
And we did New Year's in Sydney.
Oh,
It was
nice.
at the Opera House. And then the end of the winter in a winter wonderland, and then we were shut down.
The life you lead, though, that's incredible. Incredible. Like, surely those moments where you're looking around being like, can't believe this is it. Like, this is amazing. Like, I've
Well,
gotten here.
that was, I mean, I thought I was having an amazing life just after I Need a Dollar. And so that I wrote Wake Me Up. and and that was and then things went even more amazing. And so, part of what I find to be my purpose with music is to pay it forward. Like, I have such a charmed life that I've got to use my music to create positive social transformation. I've got to use my lyrics to create comfort, inspiration, motivation, and to, instruct people in this novel concept of love and compassion.
Yeah. I think that's your job as an artist. You're the mouthpiece for the greater good. Like, obviously, you have a platform. You've got to use it.
That's the way I see it. I'm no longer a spring chicken, and I can't justify, the teenage angst and depression and woe is me kind of music, the tortured soul music. I'm just not in that space. So, and yeah, what makes sense for me in creating art for the world and being a person with a major platform, that I need to use it for good in this way and, help people.
Well, I guess it comes back to write what you know, and then at this current time, all you know is bliss. So, makes sense. In that song, Glory Days, you say, "Welcome to the glory days. We finally made it out of the maze." Tell me about the maze. Is that like the heavy grind back in the day?
Yeah, definitely. My wife and I are both independent artists, have been independent artists from the beginning. We're both independent artists from the beginning. Of course, I've had major labels, relationships and support, but we still come from that independent mentality. And the grind, early on was like, wow, very, very hard touring schedules for very little financial reward, but traveling and sleepless nights, just the battle scars of uncertainty in this music business. When Maya moved to Los Angeles in 2008, this was before I Need a Dollar and the Good Things album. She made a bet. She made a bet on love. She had interviewed everyone you could imagine by then. If you think about any of the A-list artists in hip hop and R&B, she'd already interviewed them. How I ended up winning her heart when she had access to everyone is really mind-boggling, but maybe she knows how to pick a good stock. I should get her into the stock market.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we were in a one-bedroom apartment, just trying to figure out where the next gig would come from, or it was mainly gigs because we weren't selling a whole lot of music back then, or the next guest appearance. One of the lucky moments was music that I had created from 95 to 2005 was of interest to artists around the world, and they would ask me for guest appearances, and we had the opportunity to fly to Japan together for the first time. I think she had already been to Japan once, and I think I had already been to Japan once, but this was our opportunity to go together, and I went and recorded a project, and I made sure to put her on one of the songs, and a little bit of the grind in the maze, because it's these little things that just keep us floating for the next couple of months that came in, and we finally made it out. I remember the day we moved to our house. It was after I Need a Dollar had really run its course, and I'd gotten a nice publishing deal, and it helped us put this money down for a house, and it was such a surreal moment to be moving out of really one of LA's tougher neighborhoods into almost paradise.
Yeah, because you were like 31 when you had your first hit, right? Were you like leading up to that? Were you worried? Were you kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, should I do a big 180 on my career? Like, it's getting crunch time, or how did you stick with it?
Yeah, the irony of how things work. So there was this moment where I had been invited by a company to go to do a music presentation in Novosibirsk, New Siberia, Russia. This is the dead middle of Russia.
Random, yeah.
Did I bring Maya with me? I can't recall if she was with me, but I was sitting in a pub with the host who brought me out, and no, Maya didn't come on this trip. She came on the Moscow trip, but this trip was just New Siberia. And there was television in this pub, and on the TV was a stadium concert, and the only person in concert was a DJ. And I was asking my host, like, who is this DJ? Because my host knew everything about music. He was like, oh, that's Tiesto. I was like, and he's just playing from turntables to this tens of thousands of people.
Stadium?
Like, what is this? Like, what kind of music is, I'm going to figure this out, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this dance music thing. So when we got home, actually, yeah, Maya was on that trip. When we got home, I made up these monikers, these pseudonyms that we would go under to be like a dance music phenomenon, girlfriend, boyfriend duo. and we never we never we never followed through with it. She was dead set against it. I had this dream, and she was like, no, she is the epitome of keeping it real, no matter what. Like, I might have a million different thoughts and ideas about how to sell out, and she's like, nope.
Nope, come back down to earth now. No, no, no.
She's like, nope, can't do it. So we never did it. I made a couple of songs, and
Could I find them if I looked it up?
we never released it. It never came out.
Oh.
Files and files and files of music that'll never come out because
Oh, one day, please.
back down to earth, and she's like, stay the course. This is gonna work out. And she was right. It did work out. And um, a year later, I had the opportunity to record Good Things, and then almost a year after that, I Need a Dollar became a global hit. So I think, yeah, my good luck charm is Maya at this point.
It's the through thread in this whole story. But also, obviously, your own hard work you've earned getting here. Speaking of dance music, I've seen your IGTV series about asking different producers about them working with Avicii. And I wanted to find out what your experience was after Wake Me Up.
Yes. There were 3 or 4 times where I was with Avicii in the studio, and each of those times was completely different. Each time was also very much an indicator of how dedicated he was to making the best song that he could make at that moment, and something where there was no routine of, it needs to sound like this because this is my sound, or it needs to feel like this because this is what's happening in the marketplace. It was always, this is just what I feel like right now in this very moment. And before, I don't know if it was before, because I don't know the chronology of all of the iterations of dance music and electronic music, but I don't believe that dubstep was a huge thing yet. And we were working on a dubstep track that was just ridiculous, that we never released. And I just felt like, wow, we're so locked in. Like, everywhere I go, he's right there, and he's just as fast. I consider myself a pretty fast writer. But with his ability on the machine that he was working on, the computer, to produce, he was just as quick. And when we got to working on Wake Me Up, it was fast. It was another thing where it was like, I came in with the lyrics. He had already been starting with Mike Einziger on the chord progression and the guitar rhythm. And then within a couple of days, we had this monster electronic track that I had no idea, because it's of course not my genre, but he knew what he was doing for sure. Yeah. It was a career defining moment for me. It helped increase my recognition within the industry, and a lot of the respect that I have within the industry is still on the heels of that song. Of course, I justify it year by year with other things, but it really helped in a major way, and I'll be forever grateful for the opportunity to have worked with Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you got your taste of a bit of EDM as well, that whole Tiesto full circle.
I ended up getting into the world. Ironically, I ended up getting to work with Tiesto and Guetta and Lost Frequencies and so many others that, it's pretty amazing. And I feel like if all else fails, I've had a pretty awesome career. I can maybe go into teaching songwriting or something, but it's still going on.
Exactly. Not yet. Don't retire from actual performing just yet. I did notice that on this current album that you worked with all male producers. How, why? I'm curious.
I chose Jonas Jayberg just because I had the experience of working with him on one song, and I really liked how quick he works and how great and I try to keep an album to one producer. This ended up being 3 or
yeah, you had Jugglers, John Levine, Matt Prime, yeah,
and the Jugglers.
Yeah.
And yes, all male producers, definitely a fault. And my job now is to seek out the women producers and more diversity in production.
Yeah,
So
how do you find your collaborators?
thank you for pointing that out. And I find my collaborators really by, let's see, I know who my go-to all the time and that I always want to work with is DJ Khalil, just because I trust what we do together. There's nothing that we've ever done that was terrible. But this album, I didn't work with him because I had met Jonas, and Jonas was really good, and we'd started writing a bunch of songs together. And since we'd already written a bunch of songs, and he's a producer, I figured I'd have him produce the song. So he was co-writer and producer on like 7 of the 10 tracks, which, that's a significant portion of the album. And then I choose my collaborators based on relationships. So there was a song called I Do. I had recorded Brooklyn in the Summer, who was a song that was brought to me by Jay Stolar, brilliant songwriter and singer. But he had a relationship with Sarah Solovey, who is a songwriter. She's really amazing as well. So he brought her into the songwriting room for us to work on a song. And I figured both of them are really good at love songs. So we should write a love song. And I have yet to really focus on a love song for Maya. So they helped me to put together I Do. And it was, I think a great moment.
Absolutely, I agree. That song's one of the highlights on the album. It's again another one of those songs that made me be like, oh, so that's what love is, huh? Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, so what else is coming up in your world then?
Well, aside from searching for some more women producers, I'm writing all kinds of stories. And because I've got the 2 kids, when I put them to bed, sometimes I freestyle a story and ends up being something that they really enjoy. So then we work on it together. We've got a couple of different story ideas that may become books or albums or TV shows or all of these things. So I definitely want to work on those because I want my kids to recognize that you don't always have to be a spectator who consumes other people's thoughts and ideas and creative products. You can produce them. So I want them to be part of the process of, we're going to take this story that we all have come together to kind of develop and make a book, and we will illustrate the book, and we will publish the book, so that they can see the process, be part of it, and be a creator.
Hold it in their hands at the end. Yeah.
I look at it, what we do, like I analogize it to farming. When you're a farmer, your kids get to see that. They get to plant a seed in the ground and watch it grow over the seasons. They get to see the birth of a chick and watch that chick grow into a hen and see that hen then lay eggs. And these kind of things I think are important. So what is that in our lives now? Well, we have to show them how to create, how to ideate, then how to produce, and how to publish. That's our farm.
God damn, Aloe Blacc, what a figure. Ah, amazing. And if this book goes to publish, I'm sure there's a good community of adults who'll want their hands on it. I, for one, would love to see this book.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really appreciate your time, and this has been super enlightening. It's been really lovely.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.